Jo, first of all, thank you very much for taking the time to take part in this very first series of interviews we're going to be doing called CMO², which is interviews with other marketing directors and CMOs. Acxiom is not necessarily a household name for many companies, so it'd be interesting to know a little bit more about Acxiom and what you do.
Right, thank you. Nice to see you again, Declan, and thank you for asking me to interview. So Acxiom is a marketing services company. I think we'll keep that quite short because I think it's it can be quite complex. So basically, in short, we combine data, which is first-party data or commonly known as customer data, together with third-party data that we collect. We combine that with technology, ethics, and ideas to help brands understand their customers and so therefore deliver a great customer experience.
Okay. And how large are you?
We are about 3,500 employees. We're global, so we've got a lot of offices in the US. We've got an APAC office, and we've got offices in London and in Munich and in Frankfurt. So we're quite global. We are looking to grow and expand that. But also last year we got bought by IPG Holdings, so into public. So we are now part of a very large company. So yeah, there's about 90 agencies within that group.
Wow. And so tell me a little bit, how does Acxiom impact the lives of the everyday person on the streets?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's, the story is less about us. I think we've always talked about us a bit more, so we're trying to flip that. It's more about you and me, people, how we live, how we work, how we communicate. It's transforming, across all experiences, people still value relevance over randomness. And I think that's our main remit. They value a good deal at the right time and preferential treatment. We value a good experience and we're less tolerant of bad experiences. So we help marketers do this. We help them deliver relevance.
And tell me something about Acxiom that perhaps not many people know.
Do you know what? I had to think about this one. And I think, we probably employed the first chief data privacy officer. So back 20 odd years ago when, we were almost ahead of the game on ethics and data governance. So I think that's quite key.
Particularly in light of what's happening at the moment.
Absolutely, yeah.
Privacy and data. So let's talk a little bit about you then, Jo. I saw from your LinkedIn profile that you studied psychology at university. So what led you to become a marketing director?
Well, that's a good question. I did study psychology, occupational psychology, so it's quite relevant. So it's applying the science to the workplace. I really enjoy sort of seeing people develop and performance and motivation. So I think that's quite key. I started my career in sales for a logistics company a long time ago. And I continued selling at a company called Claritas, who obviously they were bought by Acxiom. And then at Acxiom, I changed from sales into marketing. So about 10, 15 years ago. And I think I've really applied my degree and selling to my current job because I think it really helps you understand the consumer and it helps you understand people.
Okay. And tell me, in terms of your job, your role as marketing director there at Acxiom, what does a typical day look like for you there?
Do I think most marketers say there's no typical day. I think that's why it's such an interesting job. And I think most marketers say that too. In the UK, in the London office, we're quite a small team. So we kind of handle all aspects of marketing from demand gen, ABM, through to PR, content, thought leadership. We look after the website, social, email, so, et cetera, et cetera. So it's a very hands-on experience, which is what I love. I love doing and I love thinking about that whole, plan.
So no 2 days are the same, basically.
No 2 days are the same, no.
And as you said, most marketeers would probably say the same.
I think they would, yeah.
What would you say is probably your most important remit there at Acxiom?
I think it's twofold. I think it's always got to be about driving demand. So demand generation to drive a pipeline because it's got to be about growth. And I think marketing is much more measurable now. I think it has to prove a return on investment. But it's also about brand awareness. It has to be about driving the right perception to the target audience as well.
Yeah. And talk me, obviously, over the last couple of years, one of the major events that has impacted marketeers and companies across the whole world has been GDPR. Tell us a little bit about how that has impacted your organisation and the work that you in the marketing department have had to do.
Yeah, no, it has impacted all organisations, but I think we were ready for it. I think we have a wealth of experience here with our data privacy experts, and having had the first chief data privacy officer, our global data ethics team, because we have many of them looking after all the regions. I think they're committed to ethical data practices, and that goes to every employee as well. We all have to take exams around GDPR and code of conduct and that kind of thing. And it goes, I think we go beyond what's required by law. And what's just and fair to the consumer is always front of mind. I think prior to GDPR, we'd already implemented leading industry programs around data governance, so around sort of ethical data sourcing, data protection. We have this sort of privacy by design theory that applies to everything. And to comply with GDPR, we had loads of work streams to strengthen our data governance practices. We ourselves as a marketing team use the basis of legitimate interest for our B2B campaigns. But we took the opportunity to really review our database and make sure that it was absolutely clean. We were using the right, marketing to the right people under GDPR. And I think so the learnings and a top tip for marketers is, I think, use GDPR and the privacy regulation as a catalyst to strengthen your data governance program. It should be a positive thing because it protects your brand and it builds consumer trust. And we advise, all our brands to do this using our regulatory team. So I think that's a long answer, but I think it deserves the time.
Yeah, thank you. And so you were obviously recently presenting at the ABM Align and Accelerate event, which was obviously focused on account-based marketing. And you kindly agreed to take part with ourselves, with Strategic Internet Consulting, and deliver a seminar on the success of your ABM program.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit more about that and the background to that?
Yeah, absolutely. We've been on a long journey with ABM. We started years back with ad hoc programs, around lead generation, and that was just, always driving the pipe. But I think now we're working with a really strategic blended program of the lead gen, but also one to many and one to few. It's all about driving good quality leads and MQLs to help our sales team drive pipe. But it is more than just that. It's a triage of three things. It's about building reputation and building relationships, which ultimately drive revenue. But to do that, you've got to create insights and interesting content. You've got to inspire your audience to read your content to get that value exchange. So I think that's.
And looking back now over the last few months of the program, what do you think was one of the greatest success factors with the program itself?
Well, obviously driving that, the 1.5 million pipe over that short period of 4 months within the automotive vertical. But I think it's more than that. It's about delivering personalized content to a targeted audience, which ultimately drives engagement. So, you just got to be more targeted and more measured. And I think this has really proved that.
Yeah. And how new were you there at Acxiom to ABM? Was this your very first attempt at an ABM program?
Yeah, I think we're relatively new to it. I think in the last, 6 months, we're really concentrating on the one to many for a while. But now I think we've recently embarked on the one to few. We're in the middle of that program at the moment, but it's proving its worth already.
And obviously, you've been working with Strategic Internet Consulting, you mentioned earlier, for 7 years.
Yeah.
There's always this constant debate, in-house, agency, internalize, externalize, in-source, outsource, etc. What value did the agency bring to this ABM program in particular?
Well, I think, for 7 years, I think that because we're a small team, it's really difficult to build up that expertise internally. And I think they're an extension to our team. They're more of a partner. They help us with our strategy. They're always bringing ideas to the table. They work hard to use the right tech stack and the channels to reach our target audience. And I think they're always iterating and optimizing campaigns. So it never stands still. So we're always gaining. It's been a great partnership, and I think we're doing really good marketing.
Which I think at the end of the day is the most important thing, really, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah.
And how do you see the collaboration with the agency going forward into next year, 2020?
Well, I think we'll build on that, and we'll have more of a blended program. And I think we'd like to get to the one-to-one. You know, it requires a lot of investment, a lot of heavy lifting. But I think that is definitely the way forward. It might be for the latter part of 2020 and even into 2021. But I think we would like to get to that stage. But also, I think it's about expanding the partnership into our global regions. Already the US are very interested and keen to do this. And I think it'd be a great program to have a global program going.
Yeah. So there's plenty more work to be done next year.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay. And just some random questions, really, a little bit about yourself. What you talked earlier about marketing, how you came into it, but if you think about what you do on a daily basis, what is the one thing you enjoy about marketing?
Do you know? I think it really is that no day is the same. Which excites me. I look forward to going to work, but it's also the continuous learning. I think marketing, I mean, no industry stands still, but I think marketing is one of the ones that is always innovating, and there's always a new tech stack, or there's always a new something you can use, and I love that. I love the fact that you're always learning.
Yeah, it's also quite relentless as well, isn't it? As you said, there's always something new every day, right?
Yeah, and if you stand still, you really do, you fall behind. So
I know the feeling.
Yeah.
Are you a reader? Are you a great reader of kind of textbooks and business books?
I'm a great reader. Less so of the business books. I think that's more. I need to spend some time doing more business reading. But I do follow people, and I do read. I look at TED Talks, and I look at videos and that kind of thing. So it's small bites that consume rather than long textbooks. But yeah, I do.
Anybody in particular you follow on LinkedIn or anywhere?
Well, actually, it was interesting. I was talking to my CMO, Jed Mole, who's our global CMO, and we were talking about Simon Sinek, start with why. And I think it's really key for every marketer to do this. Don't start with the what and the how, because that doesn't excite people. That's just the features and benefits. It's almost like the why. Why do consumers change their behavior? Why do they actually buy? And I think we've got to start talking like that, so that we change behavior, and then you bring the tangible benefits to the fore.
Yeah, there's a lot more nowadays about telling a good story as opposed to.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all about storytelling, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I mean, other people I follow. I mean, gosh, I've done a couple of courses, and I really like Dr. Chaffee. He runs that Smart Insights website, which is brilliant for digital marketers. Look at a bit of Seth Godin. Is it Seth Godin or Seth Godin? I can never tell.
Yeah.
He's quite interesting. And then more recently, Scott Brinker, who is really looking at the whole ad tech, martech world. He's really interesting. So yeah, just a
you definitely need a couple of people to follow now. So thank you for that. And finally, tell us something about Jo Robson that we don't know or might surprise the viewers.
Well, from a personal point of view, this is not many people know this, I don't think, but I used to play football for QPR about 25 years ago. There you go.
That is very surprising.
Ladies football, obviously.
I wasn't going to make any comment about that. Just in case we have any QPR viewers watching. Jo, it's been an enormous pleasure to spend a little bit of time with you. So thank you so much for agreeing to take part and for learning a bit more about Acxiom and yourself.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Declan. I've really enjoyed it. Thank you.